I was on reservation before 1876 on the Platte. We, Oglalas, wintered on the Tongue. Battle March 17, 1876 with Crook, 3-star Wikakpiyami, against Cheyennes, but I was there with a few Sioux. This was a Cheyenne camp under Little Wolf. When fought Crook, Oglala village was on Sundance Creek too, not far from Little Bighorn. A bluff with pines on it nearby. This must have been at Lone Teepee. I lost 7 horses in this scrap. The next night we camped on Lodgepole Creek and sent men who got some of these horses back. Indian in Lone Teepee was a Sans Arc, a brother of Turning Bear. He was shot through bowels in Crook fight. We started out to fight Crook the second time but did not see crows around and afraid crows would get at our village, and we turned back. The reason did not pursue Crook was that we were too far from our villages, which were not only a long distance off but were strung out over much country. Did not pursue Crook because afraid crows and Shoshones would get at our village. We saw Crook had a good many Indians. We knew that we had defeated him because he turned back. Moved to Little Bighorn 3rd day after Crook fight. Sioux did not want to fight, and so when got away off at Little Bighorn thought would have no more fighting. We had our wives and children with us and had to get buffalo meat for them and wished to be let alone. It has always been an argument among Sioux whether 2nd or 3rd day after we moved camp to Little Bighorn that Sioux party of 7 Sioux saw Custer's dust. These Indians did not come back and warn village but made a circle around the soldiers and went on southeast to the agencies. Fasthorn was the Indian whom Varnum saw from Crow's Nest, and he got back to village only a short time before Reno appeared. Of the 7 scouts who discovered Custer, Black Bear and Dirt Kettle were among them. They saw Custer's dust, and Custer coming so fast doubted whether they could beat him to village, so took a look at soldiers and went on toward agencies. Oglalas were not on Little Bighorn June 25th, but back from river northwest of Hunkpapa. Did not expect to fight here as Crook had gone away, and so forth. Brules not on Little Bighorn in village June 25th, but over by Oglala. Good many Brules there. More than 20 lodges was reported to me. Flying Chaser, Wakuya Kinyon, was the headman of Brules, but not a big chief. More Hunkpapas than any other tribe. Minneconjou next. Hunk and Blackfeet together had 600 or 700 lodges. 30 or 40 lodges of Santees. Inkpaluta, for their chief was there. Just 2 Arapahoes. Thinks 1,800 lodges in whole village about right. Did not see any white man among Sioux. In my camp there was a Canadian half-breed who spoke very good English as well as Sioux. When Reno approached, the hunks went out ahead, mostly on foot, and I was slow in getting my horse. The hunks went up to Point of Timber and held the soldiers back. I was on hill to west of Reno's skirmish line, and Indians were getting ready for word to charge in a body on soldiers at Timber. Sioux had not all got there yet, but Indians from all tribes, all that could get horses and get there. Just as we charged, the soldiers left the timber in 2 bunches on their horses as fast as they could ride up the river. Chased Indian scouts from timber to river also and killed some of them. Saw Benteen coming and quit pursuing Reno. I went back to Hunkpapa's camp, and then we looked and saw other soldiers coming on the big hill right over east. They kept right on down the river and crossed Medicine Tail Coulee and on to Little Rise. The first rise above flat south of mouth of Medicine Tail, where Foley found. Pointed distance is same from his office to tank so that it agrees with my map exactly, about 600 feet. Here Custer's line was scattered all along parallel with river from Foley and Butler. When Custer passed near to Ford B, note the ford at Medicine Tail Coulee, he was moving as though to reach the lower end of our camp. It is my opinion that the 5 men killed on hill by Cut Bank opposite the village were at the head of the column and were met by Indians moving up the river. The Indians had left the camp over west to get ready. There was no fighting while Custer down near river but a few shots down there. No general fighting, 15 or 20 Sioux on east side of river and some of soldiers replied, but not much shooting there. Did not hear Custer fire any volleys. Says location of Foley is right and he the one who shot himself. Before fight started we drove him up a slope to a ridge, Keogh, and over to other side of it. Soldiers mounted all time and kept going right along, all together, all time. Did not fight by companies. Indians all along Custer Ridge, and Custer went down along hollow by Keogh. At this time Indians all around. At first, gray horses all together but after got on hill mixed up with other horses. Fighting started at Finley and kept up all along. At Keogh is where Crazy Horse charged and broke through and split up soldiers into two bunches. Horses stampeded toward river, getting away from soldiers. There was no charge by Custer's men on ridge during fight. Custer's men at end of ridge did not run out of ammunition, found ammunition on dead soldiers. When the men rushed from Custer's last stand toward river, the dismounted ones took to the gully, and the mounted ones tried to get away to south toward Finley. Line H to C mounted soldiers trying to get away when they ran toward gully. Foley wrote out a fight from H and corroborates 28 dead men in gully. Fight with Custer did not last much more than an hour, as nearly as I can estimate it. Did not know we're fighting Custer. Did not know what soldiers they were. Cheyennes were very brave in this fight and took a leading part. The bloodthirsty ones got tired of scalping before came to Custer group. Never knew about Bustard killed in villages. He knew a Santee who was always with the soldiers. Mitch Booyer might also have been Bloody Knife. He was killed, and Sioux recognized his body as a Sioux. After killing all of Pecushi's 6 soldiers, we attacked the other soldiers and had them cut off and surrounded on the high bluffs, where we shot at them as they rushed for water. Did not have time to do Reno and Benteen up before Terry came. Had not assistance come to them, we would have worn them out in a few days. Had plenty of ammunition left after June 26th. We had ways of getting more, and the ammunition taken from Custer's men we used against the other soldiers. Many had Winchesters, but we had all kinds of guns. The number of Indians killed at Little Bighorn was between 30 and 40. Many more than this were wounded, and some of these died later. After fight, all tribes went upriver near to Big Hills, Bighorn Mountains. All remained together until got to Slim Buttes and there split up, Sitting Bull setting out for Canada. I was in Slim Buttes fight. After camp broken up, Oglala, Sanzark, Minneconjou, and Cheyennes stopped near there, but Hunkpapas went on. The tribe massacred there were Minneconjou, who were out deer hunting. No chief was killed here. The man wounded in bowels and died here was not a chief. He was a Sanzar relative of mine. There were never 2 American horses to my knowledge.